Yes, you're very most welcome. Allow me just put off this mask such that I can speak very well. Good morning, dear candidates. Good morning, everyone. Whoever is watching BBS Terefina, thank you so much. My name is Katunku Timothy from Mugwanya Preparatory School, Kaboja. I know candidates are now warming up. You have started preparing your heavy bags. Yeah, the books, some of you even you don't know where your books are. You are looking right and left. But pray that the ministry does not change in case we have only 2 weeks to go back to school. Today is the 1st of October 2020. Well, I want to thank you, those who managed to send us work. It was a lot, but we managed to give you feedback. And those who reached us via the school kit, we also gave you the feedback. Well, when you check that list there, that is the list which includes some of the people who sent the work. And please make sure if you want me to show your name, please send very neat work. Make sure you write well. So I'm going to go through that list. We have Ageesigika from Kole district, that is in Arua, that side, from Angel Gabriel, Bala parents. We have Antonio Priska, St. Teresa in Kisubi here. We have Wasoro Roy Eliana in Narokolongo. There is Kintu Alvin from Delight. Mwangus Jovan, that is from City View. We have Nabashere Patience, Kampala Quality McLean, Muhindo. That one is from Kileka Grammar. And we have Olongo Daniel David, St. Francis. We have Kemikingo Christina. That one is from Namagunga Boarding. We have Nisha Ndiwabene from Nakinyunguzi Primary School. We have Mukisa Precious, Kiseka Joshua Ronald, that is from Genesis in Nakaseke. Namudu Vanessa Happy Times. We have Nakiwa Angel Gabriel, he's from Chankwanzi, St. Joseph. And we have Bisinja Nicholas, Green Hill Schools. Ajolo Patricia from Soroti. Pyre Dorothy from St. Paul Community Primary School. We have Olongo Daniel, St. Francis in Intinda, and very many. Please, if you don't see yourself on the list, don't get annoyed. Don't say, teacher, why are you not showing my name? Next week, I'm going to show you. Well, I want to sort of remind you that last week, we did look at reflection, but in fact, many of you got everything right, except a few people who didn't include or who didn't indicate the arrows on their red diagrams. And this is very important. It's a common mistake that you always do as candidates. Please make sure when you're drawing a red diagram, there must be arrows. Because remember from the very beginning, I told you that a ray is a straight line, or it's a path taken by the light rays and is represented by an arrow. You must put the arrow on it. So if you just draw a line, that is not a ray, it's a line. So in order to make it a ray, you must put there an arrow. So most of you sent the work, or in fact most of you got it right, except some few friends who did this. Of course, there was this kind of number. We are going to do corrections, don't worry. Well, they were just, you were just drawing. This is not a red diagram. It's not. This is just, let's say this, then if you draw like this, you're drawing angles. But if you are to represent a red diagram, please, you must represent it with the arrows, okay? To show the incident ray and also to show the reflected ray, clearly like that. This is now the right ray diagram. Next time, please remember you must include the arrows. This is very, very, very important. So next time, my dear candidates, I know you're not going to mess up there. Well, I want to give you a simple video. It's for about 3 minutes, but it explains about reflection. I want us to just look at it. We are going to, there's a lot that you're going to learn. We picked it from YouTube. It's a tutorial. We picked it from YouTube. I thought it is very important. It has nice animations. So let me ask my producer to give you that video. It's for 3 minutes, but there's a lot that you're going to learn from it.
Reflection of light is the bouncing back of light after hitting a surface. Let's visualize it using this ball here. So if you imagine light to be this ball, can you see that it's bouncing back from the mirror, or it's getting reflected by the mirror? The mirror that we are discussing in this video is a plane mirror. It has a flat surface. The mirror is shiny and opaque. Do you know how a mirror is made? You need to take a thin layer of glass and put a layer of silver on one side. The silver side reflects the light but does not let it pass through. An ideal mirror would reflect back all the light. But a real mirror absorbs some of the light energy and the remaining gets reflected back. Light follows certain laws of reflection. But before we discuss the laws of reflection, let's do a quick recap on the basic terms first. Let's say there's a mirror here, and I shine this torch towards the mirror. The torch gives out a beam of light. A beam is a collection of light rays. Let's consider a single ray of light for simplicity. The ray of light that's falling on the mirror is called incident ray. The point where the incident ray hits the mirror is called the point of incidence. And the ray that comes back is called the reflected ray. Now we can draw an imaginary line at the point of incidence that is perpendicular to the mirror. And this line is called the normal. The normal is used to measure the angles here. So the angle the incident ray makes with the normal is called the angle of incidence. And similarly, the angle the reflected ray makes with the normal is called the angle of reflection. There are two laws of reflection. The first law states that the incident ray, the reflected ray, and the normal at the point of incidence all lie on the same plane. Now, what does this long sentence mean? Let's take a closer look. The first law talks about the incident ray, the reflected ray, and the normal. All these three things lie on the same plane. Now, what does plane mean? Plane is a flat surface, just like a sheet of paper or a table surface. So, which plane are they talking about here? This is a common confusion. Is it the mirror? That's right, it's not the mirror. In fact, the first law doesn't even talk about the mirror. It's this flat surface that is perpendicular to the mirror. And as you can see, the incident ray, the reflected ray, and the normal are all lying on this flat surface, which is our plane here. The second law of reflection, thankfully, is much easier. It states that the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. As you can see in the picture here, the angle of incidence is 40 degrees, and so is the angle of reflection. Now, if I change the angle of incidence by moving this torch, as you can see, the angle of reflection also changes, so that the angle of incidence is always equal to the angle of reflection. Let's place the two laws of reflection of light on our concept board.
Well, I think you've learnt a lot from that video. Well, he has put a lot of emphasis on the angles. Remember when we are looking at the ray diagram, I told you last time that the ray that hits the reflecting surface is known as the incident ray. Incident ray. And the ray leaving the shiny surface or the reflecting surface is the reflected ray. Reflected ray. And the angle between the normal and the incident ray is known as the angle of incidence. We represent it with the I. Angle of incidence. Please take note. Angle of incidence. Many wrote incident instead of incidence. So the right thing, it is incidence. So it is called angle of incidence, not angle of incident, as most of you who sent in your work for marking did. And the angle between the normal and the reflected ray, that is the angle of, that's the angle of reflection. So we have angle R is angle of reflection. Hope you have got that clear. This is angle of reflection, not angle of reflected. That's what some of you did. So it is angle of reflection. This is the angle between the reflected ray and the normal. As you've just seen in the video, when he tried to adjust a little bit, when you adjust the incident, the angle, when you adjust the angle, when you adjust the incidence angle, even this one also will keep on adjusting, okay? And the angle at which the incident ray strikes the mirror or strikes the shiny surface is not this angle. For example, if let's assume this angle was 40 degrees, and then they ask you at what angle did the incident ray strike the shiny surface. It is not 40. This 40 degrees, that's the angle between the normal and the incident ray. So, meaning if this is the normal, it is perpendicular to the shiny surface. So, that is 90 degrees. So, if you get 90 degrees, take away the 40, it means that the incident ray will strike the shiny surface at an angle of 50 degrees. And that's something which disturbs most of the candidates. If they ask you, at what angle did the incident ray strike the shiny surface? So that was 50 degrees. And when it is leaving, it leaves at the same angle. So it will also leave the shiny surface at 50 degrees. That is why this angle is equal to that angle. Why is the angle of incidence equal to the angle of reflection? The point is that the incident ray strikes the shiny surface, that the angle at which the incident ray strikes the shiny surface is the same angle at which the reflected ray leaves the shiny surface. That one makes these angles to be equal, and it is a law of reflection, as you've just seen in that video. Well, I want to show you some of the work from your colleagues, actually those who sent, and it was very nice work. I appreciate you so much. Yes, we have Nafuma Ethan, that is from Namilyango Junior Boys. That is his work. He did it well, except the last number where he said that he said if ray AO strikes the plane mirror at 60 degrees, what's the size of angle R? So I think he didn't do that well, and you're going to do corrections for that. Let's say for another person, we have for Nankanja Mariam from KY Masaka. Thank you so much, the teachers from KY. You're busy encouraging those girls and boys to do the work. So when you look at Nankanja's work, is also correct, and all It shares everything, right? Then we can move to the next one, that is for Rukunjiri. In fact, we need to thank so much the Kabaka of Buganda for giving us this program. You can see it is benefiting the whole country, not only from the central region, but it is the whole Uganda and the whole country. We even have those from abroad who are learning from us here. So, and then lastly, let's see for the last person there. That is, you can see he has all correct. Well, that is the work I want us to write the corrections. Number one, I want you to name the ray, OB. Now look at OB, what you need to do, don't cram. You don't need to cram here. Look at the arrow. Is it leaving the shiny surface? Yes. That is the reflected ray. That is the reflected ray. Then we move to part B. What angle is marked with the letter I? Of course, you look at the angle marked with the letter I is between the normal and the incident ray. So that means angle I is the incident ray. The incident ray. Please take note, incident ray. Then if angle R is 30 degrees, what is the size of angle I? Now from the video which you just watched, I've shown you that when the angle of reflection, okay, the angle of reflection is equal to the angle of incidence. So that is very simple. So what is the size of angle I? Angle I is 30 degrees. Hope you have done the correction there. Angle I is 30 degrees. So this is our ray diagram. Let me put mine here for my people. They are saying this is angle I and this is angle R. So they are saying if angle R is 30 degrees, this one here, okay, what is the size of angle I? So angle I is also 30 degrees. This one, angle I, so you write your statement that angle I is equal to 30 degrees properly. And then you underline. You need to be very neat such that your work is very legible. The examiners will be able to see it and give you a very good mark there. And then the next question, they want you to give a reason for your answer. Give a reason why angle I is also 30 degrees. The reason is clear. We pick it from the law of reflection. The reason is that the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. As simple as that. Now the second last question was if ray AO. Now this is our A and this is our O. Of course, this is our mirror or our shiny surface. If ray AO strikes the plane mirror at 60 degrees, what is the size of angle R? Okay, now assuming this is not there, and they are saying that if ray AO strikes the plane mirror at an angle of 60 degrees. Now, they want you to look for angle R, and this is very simple. What you need to do, remember, the angle at which the incident ray strikes the shiny surface, the very angle at which the reflected ray leaves the shiny surface. So if this is 60, if this angle is 60 degrees, it means that here it is also 60 degrees. That is on a plane surface, but if it is an irregular surface, to produce a different angle there. They want us to find the value of angle R. Just pick, this is the right angle here, and you say this is angle R plus 60 degrees. That will give you 90 degrees. Now you go mathematically here, you know what you do, you know that make R the subject. You're going to subtract this. This is what I think you do in math. Okay, now when you subtract that, gives you R equals to 30 degrees when you subtract. So angle R is 30 degrees. As simple as that. You can even try it out by yourself by setting different numbers of the same caliber. Okay, you just need to change the degrees, work it out, and give it to your teacher to mark you to see whether you're really very good with that and you've got it very well. So next time when you do your PLE, we shall invite you here and then you give testimony that this I got from BBS, Somera Muddiiro. Well, so hope you've got the corrections very, very well. I want us to move to the main area of discussion for today. Today, we're going to look at images and objects. We're going to look at mainly images and objects. Remember, images are formed due to reflection of light. For example, if you get this is a tree. Let me draw the one you used to draw while in P1 and top class before you graduated to P1. Okay, so if you look at the tree, in order for us to be able to see this object here, the light rays will move and strike that object. Then the light rays will be reflected into one's eyes and you will be able to see. Okay, so we are able to see because of reflection of light. For example, if you look at where the water is very clear, when light falls on the water, you're able to see yourself if the water is clear. Okay, on a plain surface like a mirror. My colleague in the video which you watched, I've shown you what you can come up with a mirror. Okay, so we are able to see images because of reflection of light, and the kind of reflection that can give us clear images, that is the regular reflection. But with the irregular reflection, we cannot have clear images because the light rays are scattered. They are scattered, like if you look at on the wall, on the paper, on a piece of paper. Well, when you look at the book cover, is also an example of an irregular object. If you observe it microscopically, or if you use a microscope, you will see its surface. It's not very plain. Okay, that one can also produce an irregular reflection. Well, we are saying images are formed due to reflection of light. And you may ask yourself, what is an image, or what are images? An image is a visual representation of an object produced by either reflection or refraction. We are saying is a visual representation of an object produced by either reflection or refraction. And there are two types of images, as we're going to see them. One, we have what we call the virtual image. We have also another type, which is the real image. So we have two types, the virtual image and the real image. But before we go into details of that, I want to maybe look at, to explain what an object is before, because I may not have that time to explain what an object is. An object is anything which gives light rays. Okay, is anything which gives light rays. It can be own light rays, like we see with the sun. It can be the one which is reflected, like you see the moon. Okay, so an object is anything that gives out the light rays, that reflects the light. Okay, like we've seen with the moon, it's an object, it gives out the light. Like the sun is also an object, and even a tree is an object, because when light falls on it, light is reflected. And even check in the room where you're seated, there are so many materials there, but all of them they give out light, whether they give out a diffuse reflection or a scattered reflection or a clear one. So that is an object. But an image, we are saying, is a visual representation. A visual, something that you see. It's an optical, is actually, if you don't call it a visual representation, well, you can call it an optical appearance. Optical appearance. It's an optical appearance which is formed especially when the light rays from an object are reflected by, it can be within the mirror, it can be any reflective surface. Okay, so I want again to emphasize, an image is a visual representation of an object produced by reflection or refraction. And the two types of images are, one is virtual image, and the second one is real images. Now, whenever you hear real images, these are images that are formed on the screen. These are images that are formed on the screen. For example, if you check in the cinema halls, okay, if you've ever been to the cinema halls, there are those images that we see on the screen. They are formed on that screen, okay, and those images are mainly formed by the convex lens. Real images are mainly formed by the convex what? Lens. So images that are formed on the screen are what we call real images. Okay, and then virtual images, that's a new term that you need not forget, don't cram, but you're going to understand it. Virtual images are images that are not formed on the what? On the screen. Is that okay? They're not formed on the screen. For example, when we do with the plane mirrors, if you look at the plane mirror, you see an image, but it is not formed on, but it is, when you see it is inside, you see it inside. So it is formed at the back of the mirror. So that is a virtual image. Now let's look at the general characteristics of images that are formed by different surfaces. One, you find that these images are magnified. And when we say an image is magnified, that is when an image is bigger than the object. When an image is bigger than the object, then we call that image, we call it a magnified image. And the second characteristic is that some are diminished. Diminished, those are new terms, you're going to get them. Diminished. So an image, we say an image is diminished when it is smaller than the object. Okay, and some images are inverted. So it is inverted when it is upside down, like the ones that are formed in our eyes on the retina. They are upside down, they are inverted images. Okay, then some images are laterally inverted. They are laterally inverted. Laterally inverted means they are reversed. Like when you look at the plane mirror, you see yourself, you are looking at the plane mirror, but the image in the plane mirror is looking at you. So that is a laterally inverted image. It is the opposite way, it is reversed. Okay, and some are upright or erect. We use that word erect. Okay, so some are upright. Is that okay? So those are some of the characteristics of images that are formed by different reflective surfaces. Is that okay? Well, let us continue, and in this video here that I will show you, actually I'm going to bring it at the end such that I don't miss out any point. When I look at my clock, it's running, and there's some important information I want you to see. I'll play it at the end. Let us proceed and look at what do we mean by a magnified image. Okay, my producer will ask him to give me that image. If you look at, that is an example of a magnified image when an image is bigger than the object. Kati guno omukono ogugwo ng'omuntu, that's an object. Then kyolaba eri mu mirror, that's an image. Okay, you're going to look at those kind of mirrors that can give a magnified image. And the other side, we have a diminished image. When you're driving, you see a car behind, but is that really the size of that? Is that vehicle the same size as what you see in the image? Not, but it is diminished. Wano giraba yonna eri mu mirror okalaba katono naye nga siwe katowekaga. So that is a diminished image. Is when an image is bigger, when an image is smaller than the object. The real truck, if you look at in that mirror, the real truck is big, but we are seeing it ngokalaba katono. That is a diminished image, where we have images when they are smaller than the object. Let's move to the other kind of images. We have the inverted images. I told you, like the one in the eye, you can see. If you are looking at me, like you're looking at the screen, you see me upright. You see me upright. Okay? But the image you're seeing in your eye, the image which is formed on the retina, is inverted. And why so? Because light travels in a straight line. So those light rays travel in the straight line, and they cross each other after entering. We are going to look at the parts of the eye and all that. So we have that kind of images. Those are inverted images, as you see them on the screen. And when we say images are erect, by the way, you don't need to draw this. You just have to listen to them, look at them, and learn. So when we talk about erect images, you can see, like for a candle, it's upright. The other side is also upright. So it is an erect image. Then we have, like you see the boy there. The boy is there. Is in that illustration there. You see the boy is also straight. That's an example of erect image or upright image. Is that okay? So those are some of the characteristics of images that are formed by different reflective surfaces. Now, what we're going to look at now are the mirrors. I know you know what mirrors are. At least even the poor man deep in the village, at least you have a comb, okay, with the mirror. So we're going to base on that, and we learn. There's no need of saying, those are for the rich people. No, you also have it at home. Okay? Now, let's proceed. My producer is going to take you to the next one. That's about mirrors. Well, have you ever asked yourself what a mirror is? Certainly, most of you not. A mirror is a shiny silvered surface that reflects light and can form an image. It's a shiny silvered surface. Please be very observant, my children, my candidates. The word shiny, we write it with the single N here. But some of you do this shiny. Then the examiner will just underline this and they give you a cross. So we refer to this. So a mirror is a shiny silvered surface that reflects light and can form an image. Why is it can form an image? Because a mirror is it's an opaque object. Yes, an opaque object. You just get a clear glass, and then at the back of that clear glass put a shiny silvered surface. You'll have formed a mirror. Is that okay? So that is it. A mirror. Now, my candidates, I think you've got that, is a shiny silvered surface that reflects light and can form an image. Well, we have two types of mirrors. We have the curved mirror and we also have the plain mirror. But when you come to, when you check the curriculum emphasizes the plain mirrors. Well, we are going to look at both because learning is not ending now. You're continuing. We are going to look at both. But in the curriculum for the P7, it emphasizes the plain mirrors. Well, there are two types. That is the curved mirror and the plain mirror. Now, mirrors with the flat surfaces are known as plain mirrors. And mirrors with curved surfaces, those ones are known as curved mirrors. Okay? Now, let's move to the plain mirror. My professor is going to show you that. You can see right on your screen. Plain mirrors, these are mirrors with a flat, shiny surface. Now, the marking point there is the word flat. Okay, if you don't use the word flat, it can be plain. Okay, these are mirrors with a flat, shiny surface. Like, look at on the screen, that mirror is plain, it is flat. So once that object is able to form an image, then we shall refer to it as a mirror, and probably a plain mirror. Now, images that are formed in the plain mirror have different characteristics, and this is what I want us to look at. Characteristics of images that are formed by the plain mirrors. Now, these images are virtual, and we've seen what virtual images are. Okay. Secondly, the image is erect. We've seen what an erect image is. Then the image is laterally inverted, and it is laterally inverted, or that is when it is reversed from left to right. My professor can take me back to the other first image of the plain mirror. That is an example of a laterally inverted image. For example, if you look into the mirror, the object's right hand is not, when you check the image, well, if I'm the object, my right hand is not the right hand of the image. The image will be showing the left hand. It is reversed. If this is the right, the other side, you will be seeing the left hand. So that is the characteristic. Okay? Images are laterally inverted. Okay? Then, the image is of the same size as the object. Okay? Like when you go to the salon, you see yourself there in those mirrors. The size yo, woba munene, robera munene, naye woba mutono, oba mutono. Okay? So the image is of the same size as the object. And lastly, the distance of the object in front is the same as the image behind the mirror. In other words, we are meaning the object distance is equal to the image distance. Now, I opted to use that because if I start talking about object distance and image distance for the first time, it will confuse you. So we are saying the distance of the object in front is the same as that of the image behind the mirror. So those are the characteristics of images that are formed in the plane mirror. Now, I want to go into the practicability part of it. We see some of these things, by the way, how images, when we talk about a virtual image, how does it come? We're going to have even the animations. My producer is going to give you. Let's go to those, let's see those images formed. One is there, that's a virtual image, and we all know what we mean by a virtual image. And also another thing that you need to check there is the distance. So if you look at the object distance, the other side, if the object distance was given as DO with the 10 centimeters, so the image distance will also be 10 centimeters. Okay, so DO is equal to D high, and even the heights are equal as well. Okay, now let's move to the next image. That is, for example, that is our Uganda flag. Now we are going to see, that's an animation, we are going to see how a virtual image is going to happen. That is a plane mirror, and you see that the flag, the other side, is instead, it is reversed. It is reversed. So that is the characteristic, what's one of the characteristics of images that are formed in a plane mirror. Images are, they are, okay, when we say that they are virtual, we mean they are formed behind the mirror. They are not, it is not formed on the screen. Okay, that image is not formed on the what? On the screen, but instead it is formed behind the mirror. Is that okay? So that's a virtual image. If it was on the mirror, if it was on that object there, which is our plane surface or shiny surface, if it was formed on it, then it would be a real image. Yeah, we proceed, and also the distance is the same. The image distance is equal to the object distance, and when you happen to change, you'll realize that the object will also change. If you remove it, it will also disappear. Okay, now let's see with the other animal also, and see, there is that animal. I know when you go for tours, you always see that. So you can see even the other side, it is not on the screen, and that's why we are calling it virtual image. It is not formed on the what? On the screen, and it is laterally inverted. In the other side, when you check it, it is opposed. Okay, but not. Yeah? So that is the image. And then the size also, look at the size, they are the same. So we can proceed to the next one. Let's look at in terms of letters, like the word light. Okay, when you look at the word light properly, the other side is reversed, like we do with the ambulances. The words are inverted, but when you view them through the mirror, you are able to see them properly. We are going to go to that, but please take a look at that. The word light is also reversed, so meaning the other side, it is laterally inverted. And why is it virtual? Because it is not formed on the screen. When you compare the distance from the mirror to the object, is the same distance from the mirror to the image. I think that is okay. You have got it clearly. We proceed and also look at a different one now. Yeah, that is, for example, look at that man. If you move your right hand, and of course your image will be moving the left hand. We can take me back a bit to the other one. So we can go back a bit such that they are able to view that man. When exactly that one. So when you look at that gentleman, he was moving the right hand, but the image is moving the left hand, and that is what we mean by laterally inverted. Look at the size, they're the same. Look at the distance from the mirror, it is also the same. Yeah, we proceed to the next one. And yes, and now we can still proceed very fast such that we are not caught up with the time. Yes, so that is an example of a laterally inverted. I wanted you to see that. Laterally inverted meaning reverse from left to right. We'll proceed. Let's now look at the size of that. That is still a different image. We are trying to re-emphasize the meaning of laterally inverted. Now, when you check with the ambulance is when they are writing where you can, if you can see the circle, that is how words are written on the ambulance. Okay. Then, if you're driving and look at the mirror, you will be able to see it clearly because the other side is laterally inverted. Okay, so you use this kind of mirror to see. I'll be telling you what kind of mirror do that shortly. Let's proceed and we look at, for example, the words like no. Okay, you see how it is seen the other side. I will also ask you to try writing your names, and you tell me, you show me how they appear in the plain mirror. I'll be showing that next week, right here. Then we can still proceed. Yes, the same size. We just continue because we have already shown them that. Yeah. So look at the distance: 3 meters, 3 meters. We've already seen that. We proceed and yes, those are different images. They are all emphasizing the same. Now, let's see the uses of plain mirrors. Plain mirrors, by the way, they are used as dressing mirrors. We can take them straight to that slide. Yeah, they are used as dressing mirrors, and they are used during shaving. And these plain mirrors are used in periscopes and kaleidoscopes. Okay, those are instruments that use plain mirrors. Well, in kaleidoscopes, many are used, but in the periscope, like 2 of them are used. But those in submarines, at times those in submarines prefer using the prisms, the glass prisms. So there's a question, there are named 2 optical instruments used, those that use plain mirrors. The optical instruments use plain mirrors, they are already there. We have the periscopes, we have the kaleidoscopes. So we can proceed quickly to the periscope. I want to take you through the periscope. Well, a periscope is an instrument that is used to see objects above the eye level, all overhead, something that is overhead. Like if I want to see what is on the roof, what is on top of our building here, I can make a hole, put a periscope, and then see what is overhead, what is above the eye level. And this instrument is fixed mainly with the 2 mirrors, okay, at different angles. Now, the image, the light coming from the object will be, let me draw it quickly. Our time is almost done, so I'm going to be very fast here. Now, if you look at this is an illustration, it's just an illustration. So this angle, a plane mirror is fixed at an angle of 45 degrees. So if it is a soldier in the trench here, so for you this way moving, your image will come to this mirror, and this mirror will also reflect it to another mirror at an angle of 45 degrees, and the person this side will be able to see what is above. So periscopes are used by soldiers, also used by those in submarines and so on. Well, our time is up. I want to thank you for being good candidates. Those who can take a screenshot, that's an activity. My professor give them, they take just a screenshot. If you can take them to that slide quickly, they take just a screenshot. Or if you miss out on this, this work is on School Kit. I'm going to post it there for you. You'll see it. Well, I want to thank you so much. Let me just straight away post it on the School Kit. We have over 600 candidates now benefiting from that. Well, I'll post it. You'll be able to see it. May God bless you. Blessed. Have a blessed weekend. Sawa Sajja Kabaka Awangale.
Osomeseza omwana wo masomero ga Janan Schools omuli campus y'Ebombo Kalule neye Kabalagala toba bweraliikirivu bwonna olw'omusingi okutambuzibwa ebyenjigiriza n'ensoma y'abayizi ey'omulembe mu masomero gaffe gano gonna tusomesa arts ne sciences okuviira ddala ku siniya esooka okutuuka ku siniya ey'omukaaga nga tusomesa abaana okuviira ddala ku mutendero gwa kindergarten okutuuka ku kibiina eky'omusanvu. Tulina abasomesa abakugu mu kubangula abaana n'okubateekateeka. Ebyo ebibiina abaana mwe basomera eby'omulembe omuli buli kimu ekikwata ku ebyo bye basoma, ebisuula ebyazimbibwa obulungi, ebigazi ate nga biyonjo, okumanya ebisingawo tukubire ku nnamba z'essimu ez'owammanga. Airtel kugona modeko double data ne deal ya smartphones ekyasinze okubeera ensava mu Uganda. Kula smartphone eya 3G over 4G teka mu line ya Airtel wefunire bonus wa data ebitundu 10 ku buli 10 okuva mu Airtel ku bando zonna eza wiki ez'omwezi ku buli smartphone empya eyungibwa ku Airtel mu myezi 3 egisooka. Nyiga *559*9 okunyumira double data. Ebyo bye biruma abayaye. Airtel, the smartphone network erungamizibwa Uganda Communications Commission. Omuzadde ng'oteekateeka okunoonyeza omwana w'essomero ery'okumubangula mu bintu eby'enjawulo omuli ebyenjigiriza eby'omulembe n'okufuna amagezi ku bintu eby'emikono. Essomero lirimu lyokka Janan Nursery and Primary School erisangibwa Ebombo Kalule. Ffe tulina omusingi gw'ebyenjigiriza ebisookerwako nga tusomesa abaana okuviira ddala ku mutendero gwa kindergarten okutuuka ku kibiina eky'omusanvu. Tulina abasomesa abakugu mu kubangula abaana n'okubateekateeka. Ebibiina abaana mwe basomera eby'omulembe omuli buli kimu ekikwata ku ebyo bye basoma, ebisuula ebyazimbibwa obulungi, ebigazi ate nga biyonjo, kompawundi yaffe ngazi bulungi nga endabika yayo yamba omwana okulowooza ku ebyo by'asoma. Abayizi baffe bafuna akadde ak'okusinza mu madiini gaabwe ag'enjawulo. Wano ku Janan ebyokwerinda tubitwala nga kikulu anti tulina security camera ezisangibwa mu buli kasonda k'essomero. Abayizi baffe baweebwa omukisa okwetaba mu by'emizannyo eby'enjawulo omuli okuwuga, okusamba omupiira, basketball n'okuzannya netball. Tuvaayo ku by'obulamu nga tulina eddwaliro erikola okumala essaawa 24. Endiisa y'abaana ezimba emibiri gyabwe n'okubakuma nga balamu. Kati nno gwe omuzadde ekirabo ky'oyinza okwasa omwana wo mu lusoma lw'omwaka 2020 muleete ku Janan Nursery and Primary erisangibwa Ebombo Kalule nga n'okwewandiisa kugenda maaso kati eri abaana b'ekibiina ekisooka. Okumanya ebisingawo tukubire ku nnamba z'essimu ez'owammanga.
Muzzukulu wange Nasuuna agenda kufumbirwa leero lwe tumuwaayo nga nkozesa Airtel K2 nsasule be tuggyeeko ebintu era nkakase nti abagenyi abayite balina endagiriro entuufu okujja awaka nga mpita ku mutimbagano wabula neebaza tekinologiya. Omukolo gubadde munyuvu nga tujaguza ebyobuwangwa bwaffe. Kaakano tulindiridde mukolo gwa mpeta.
Wangalira ku mukutu gwo gwa Airtel K2 noti 7 noti 8. K2 ejjudde.
Gigi! Gazemu! Agachi! Uninde!
Tosuwakalacha okuva ku balaza ku ssaawa 5 ez'okumakya okutuuka ku ssaawa 6 ez'emisana wano ku BBS Telefina eyaffe.
Okwerinda ekirwadde kya coronavirus ekiyitibwa COVID-19. Tufaayo nnyo ku bulamu bw'oggwe omulabi wa BBS Telefina naddala mu kiseera kino eky'akawuka ka coronavirus. bw'oba olina bino wammanga: omusujja, ssenyiga n'ekifuba, okwasimula ennyo, omumiro gukusiyirira, obuzibu mu kussa,